It's NBA action on EA Sports. I'm Ed Cohen. Great to be joined by Jay Williams for what should be a terrific matchup here tonight. We're at Chesapeake Energy Arena in downtown OKC. Tonight, it's the Oklahoma City Thunder taking on the Houston Rockets. Opening tip won by the Thunder as we get started in OKC. Carmelo Anthony traded, but Sam Presti turns that into Dennis Schroeder, now on a team built to win.
And I love this acquisition by the Thunder. When you think about Schroeder, he is actually almost the opposite of what Russell Westbrook is. He averaged 19 points, 6.5 assists last year for the Hawks, but he is not a ball-dominant guard. He will have the ball in his hands, but he's more apt to make plays quickly with the ball than Russell, who likes to hold on to the ball towards the end of the shot clock.
Paul George at the line for a chance at a three-point play. A career 84% free throw shooter. Free throw up and good. Three-point play, and we're tied up at 3. And counted at the rim.
You see, you can't actually get mesmerized by the ball. You actually have to focus on the dribbler's belly button. I know that may sound cheesy, but trust me, he can't go anywhere without his core.
Just off the mark.
And a lot of times in this league, teams take days off. But if this defense keeps maintaining that style of pace defensively, this is going to be a dogfight.
James Harden, 2 for 2. That's what you want. Can only imagine how frustrating that is to stop.
It's beyond an arduous task for the defender. I'm getting frustrated even talking about it. Let me tell you 2 reasons why. Number 1, he's been top 5 in the league since the 2012-13 season in free throws attempted per game. That's pretty impressive. Will make any defender hesitate. And number 2, whenever the league implements a rule about you called the Harden rule for his knack for drawing cheap fouls, that's going to make any defender have a difficult time guarding Mr. Harden.
Steven Adams at the line for 2 shots. 56% for his career. First free throw is good. Goes 2 for 2 at the line. There will be no shortage of shots for Carmelo Anthony in Mike D'Antoni's offense, Jay. Why is it a good fit for Melo in Houston?
Well, a couple of things. Number 1, if there's one guy you need to trust, his name is Daryl Morey. And the Houston Rockets organization is a stat-driven culture. So he understands at this juncture where Carmelo Anthony is in his relationship to his career. Playing with 2 pass-first type PGs in James Harden and CP3, who averaged a combined 12.5, 13 assists last year, will open up the floor extensively for Carmelo to knock down those jump shots.
And he's fouled. Very close. Free throws coming up.
You know, Ed, how's that saying go? Fool me once, you used up the free pass. You know how they're calling this one. Ease up on the aggressive plays on the ball.
Russell Westbrook has got 2 shots coming. A career 81% free throw shooter. First one goes down.
Number 42, Nene.
And gets both to drop at the line. Hall driving, but he can't connect.
It's easy for the offense to get agitated when you keep turning around and the defense is right there in your face. The jawing is only going to escalate.
Paul into the front court. Down just a couple. Ooh, Chris Paul. 2 of 4 now.
You normally don't see that, but that's the type of thing that keeps shooters in the league for a long time. Every once in a while, they venture into the paint.
Russell Westbrook with the rock. From the painted area, won't go down. Grabs his own miss and scores. Good concentration.
Why not? Russell Westbrook is the only guy stopping Russell Westbrook. And when he decides to put his head down and go to the rim, he's going to the rim. It's that easy.
To Westbrook. Oh, Capella up to block it. They've got it back. Tucker matched up with Paul George. Finishing inside the paint on that one.
He's been doing this for years. The physicality in which he plays. No one wants to see that. You're going to leave the game with black and blue marks all over your body.
A shot rejected by Capella.
That's why a rim protector is a necessity in this game.
And Chris Paul, quick catch and shoot there, 4-3. There's a sixth sense there that you just can't teach.
If you're a player on the same team with CP3, you should be taking that point guard out to dinner every single night. There's something to be said about a guard that makes the game way easier for you to be even more of an efficient offensive player.
.48 wins a year ago for the Thunder. Jay, it took them a while to get to that point, but in so many ways, the Thunder had a great opportunity in the playoffs.
They did. It just seemed like something with their chemistry was a tad bit off with Carmelo Anthony. I think him not being there, him not being in Houston, them getting Andre Robertson back. He's a big-time lockdown defender on the perimeter. You surround him with youth and Hamidou Diallo, Terrence Ferguson, Alex Abrines. This team has a chance to compete for a Western Conference Finals.
Almost, and he's not getting the call. Gordon with it, up by 3. 4-3, buries it on the catch and shoot.
This is a game of ways. As a defense, you have to recognize that they come and they go. That will not be the case all the time moving forward.
Westbrook fights through traffic to slam it down.
I was expecting the dish there, but way to fake that one and lay that one in.
Number 0, Russell Westbrook.
Nene's shot won't go down.
And this is where you know you have the offense right where you want them. Every possession, all you see them doing is complaining to the ref, complaining to each other. You're making the game uncomfortable. That's the mark of a good defense.
To Paul. Fires the 3. He made his first effort, but not that time. Knocked loose. Robertson matched up with Nene. Tucker. To Harden. Trying to cash in. James Harden. 3 for 4. Good start.
Look, I get it. Fans are always going to wonder what if. But James Harden is not the player he is today if he was still part of the Big Three. Leaving OKC unleashed a part of him he never knew he even had. And that's why today, you fear the beard.
Thunder have it. With the flush, taking on all comers. Jay, they've had no answer for this guy.
He's been on fire this first quarter. That's the way you take it right to your opponent. You attack right out of the gate.
Harden, double figures in the first quarter, now at 10, including that 3.
And the more and more I watch, I become mesmerized with that follow-through. That release is effortless.
That's it for the first quarter. The Rockets with the lead. Jay, one quarter down. Both sides getting a feel for where this game is going.
I really like what I'm seeing. Both teams look engaged. There's some trash talking going on the court. I think this has the making to be a big-time game.
It's good. Count the basket and the foul.
The defender was actually in a good position there. They even made a decent play on the ball. But sometimes those bounces go the other way. Still, stay aggressive out there.
James Harden trying to cash in on the three-point play. A career 85% free throw shooter. One free throw, count it. It's a three-point play, and the lead up to 8. Here's Schroeder with it. Looking to make something happen to George. Here's a chance from long range. Paul George. He is shooting well. He's made 2/3 of his shots.
I hope everyone here knows the golden rule. Guys, remember, sharing is caring.
Paul to P.J. Tucker. Paul. He engulfed him that time. Strong finish for Paul George.
And last year, it seemed like PG really had a difficult time finding that next-level elite PG. No doubt about it, this year, he needs to be playoff P all day, every day.
Yeah, Chris Paul, veteran move. Well defended, still buries the three.
And they're relentless with these long shots. It just seems like their spacing is perfect, and they come down, they know exactly where they want to be, and they're shooting the ball without hesitation.
Curling inside, Paul George. Terrific shooting. He's 4 for 5.
It looks like he's using his ball handling to feel the game out. I know it looks like he's just playing around out there trying to get the fans going. That is true, but he's also finding his rhythm.
Eric Gordon is going to get a chance at 3 here. A career 81% free throw shooter. First one, count it. Hits the second. One more coming.
Number 54, Patrick Patterson.
Takes advantage of the foul. 3 for 3 at the line. Jay, without question, one of the biggest moments of the NBA offseason. Paul George, he chooses the Thunder. He stays in OKC.
And how about what Paul George said? He said, it's a perfect opportunity to submit myself and bring a championship where it has never been brought. And I think him and Russ work well off each other. Playoff P wants to be playoff P all the time. Who better to bring that out of you than the Beastbrook?
Across midcourt, it's Schroeder. Right now, down 7. Send it away.
Did you see how far he got up? He kept going up and up and up. I think he's still going up.
Paul. Short jumper. Won't fall.
That's how you do it. You keep riding him to the basket, and if the refs aren't calling it, keep being physical. Keep knocking him off balance.
Schroeder takes on Eric Gordon. Here comes the screen. The drive. Right to the basket. He takes it right at them and scores. You have to fill in there.
When I think about the biggest international names in the game today, Dennis Schroeder's name probably isn't the first that comes to mind. But did you know that he's one of only 3 players to ever play in the league from Germany? Detlef Schrempf, Dirk Nowitzki, and Dennis Schroeder. He is a blur with the basketball, and he will be the first or second option offensively down the court each and every possession.
Schroeder with the basketball. They trail by 7. Too much contact, and free throws coming.
Smart play to rip through the extended arm of the defender. That will get you to the free throw line every time.
Dennis Schroeder, couple of free throws on the way. For his career, 82%. And he connects on the first free throw. connect on the second, and he splits the pair. To P.J. Tucker. And a nice finish at the rim.
No doubt about where that one was headed.
Here's Schroeder with it. Margins 8. Return label included.
The offense might want to adjust here. That's his 4th block of the evening.
The follow won't go either. Tucker to Anthony. Going to launch beyond the arc. P.J. Tucker is going to get 3 shots here. A career 74% free throw shooter. And hits the first free throw. Second one's no good. One more coming. Across midcourt, it's Schroeder. They find themselves down 10. To P.J. Tucker. Capella. That out of his range and no good. Basket's good on the follow. Way to stay with it. When you look at playmakers in the last decade plus, what sets Chris Paul apart?
He always puts you in a position to succeed. He leads because he's vocal, and when he directs and he guides, there is nobody better at the position than CP3.
Jay, last year, Rockets 65-17. Good for #1 record in the West. What's going to be good enough this year for the Rockets to get to the NBA Finals?
Well, you need CP3 to be healthy. If he's healthy, you can make an argument that the Rockets may have won the Western Conference Finals against the Golden State Warriors. But also, I think James Harden needs to continue to build on his play in the playoffs in particular. Everybody knows about how great he was during the regular season, but those last 6 games against the Golden State Warriors, he really struggled from the three-point line. He shot 37% during the regular season. He shot 20% in the Western Conference Finals.
Oklahoma City's got it. Schroeder. And that'll get out of bounds. Last touch by the Thunder. Substitution being made in this one. Harden to Paul. Lets it fly from long range. That one off the mark. It's no good.
Shooters shoot, period. I don't want to hear any excuses. That's why you're on the floor. You keep doing what you're doing with that superior confidence.
It's George for 2. Knocks it down from mid-range. We've seen Paul George's game evolve in recent years. Mixed results, Jay. How does he get back to being that elite two-way guy?
I think he needs to find a way to be aggressive. Let me bring you in and tell you what he dealt with this past year. When you're a guy who's used to having the ball in your hands, you can make more mistakes because you have more possessions. Then all of a sudden, when you play with a ball-dominant guard like Russell Westbrook, you don't have the ball as much, which means you try to make more out of less opportunity that you have. You force the action way more. Look for Paul George to be way more assertive in this game and find his rhythm by having the ball in his hands.
A very one-sided first half of basketball as we are at halftime. Let's get you to Orlando, where we say hello to Jalen Rose in our EA Sports Halftime Report. Jalen.
Hey everyone, it's Jalen Rose, and I've got your EA Sports Halftime Report. The Rockets will start the second half with a decent lead. Clearly, the number of three-pointers these guys scored in the first half was incredible. And if they can keep that up, it's going to be tough to keep that team down. These are the guys getting buckets for the Houston Rockets. The Thunder are down at halftime and in need of some momentum. They've got the break to figure some things out. And trust me, they've got a few things to figure out. Still, it's not like they're totally out of this game. Have a look at the leading scorers for the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Game track. Assists.
The Oklahoma City Thunder struggled to play the angles and allowed too many passing lanes to exist. However, some credit has to go to their opponents for the way they move the ball. They've been taking advantage of this situation.
Player of the half.
Chris Paul was lighting up the scoreboard in the first half, and I'm not sure the defense will be able to figure out what it'll take to slow him down. He looks like he's in a zone. Here we go with the top plays from the first half.
Number 2. Number 1.
And with that, I'm sending it back to Ed and Jay to bring you the rest of the game.
Ed, you ready for another fun fact about the Houston Rockets?
Let's do it.
Okay, the team was established in 1967, was given the name the Rockets because San Diego was the home to many space-age manufacturers. When the team eventually moved to Houston, the name still fit, giving Houston's association with NASA.
Wow, so Houston, we have a problem, all of that associated with space? Who knew?
Are you saying that because Carmelo Anthony's in town?
No, Apollo 13.
Oh, okay.
Oklahoma City ball. Schroeder to Paul George. Off the mark. Well contested.
I'm not sure that the contest on the shot contributed to the miss, but what it might have done is seep into the confidence of the shooter that the next time he might decide to try to drive to the rim instead of settling for a jumper.
Nice pace, sets it up, and slams it down.
I love when I get a chance to watch guys who can make more out of what they actually have in their arsenal. And that's who Dennis Schroeder is. For a guy who really can't shoot, he sure does put the ball in the bucket.
Look at the fight for that ball. We'll get a jump. Well, as they get ready for the jump, someone's going to come away with the basketball. Schroeder with the basketball. Down a bundle. Oh, emphatic slam. Here on their home floor, they're chipping away.
I mean, does this crowd have a pulse? Are they even alive? Sometimes when you make a play like that, your crowd needs to get you back in this ball game.
Oh, the touch at the rim. Count it.
Ed, I have so much admiration for guys that continue to hunt their shot. They're playing the second half like it was the first 5 minutes of the ball game. Those natural-born leaders are guys that will consistently lead your team to the promised land.
And that's going to get out of bounds off of Harden. Here's Schroeder with it. 14-point deficit. Nearing impossible. No getting through.
5, Ed. That's 5 blocks tonight.
Shot from in close. No good. Across midcourt, it's Schroeder. He'll run the offense. Ferguson here against Harden. The jab step opens up space to knock down the jumper.
There you go. I like seeing his scoring coming from unlikely sources.
Anthony. Yes, Carmelo Anthony. Better late than never. That was his first shot, and it goes down. Change of scenery, but how can Melo still impact a franchise?
It all starts with a mindset. It starts with embracing and accepting your new role. he is no longer a starter in this league. He's a guy that's going to need to be positive on the bench, bring in his shooting abilities off the bench, and also be a coach when he's on the floor. That's the next step in the evolution for Carmelo Anthony.
Paul, he's been dialed in from long distance. That's now 5 threes for the game.
Nothing more painful than the next day watching tape, seeing the fact that he got 15 points off three-point shots.
Harden. Well defended. Schroeder with the basketball. Down by 15. George buries it on the catch and shoot. He's endured a major injury. He's had a change of address. But you look at Paul George, he is in the prime years of his career.
And there's no doubt about it. This entire offseason, if I were Paul George, I would think about how do I constantly channel my self-assigned alter ego. Playoff P needs to step up to the court every single day and bring that energy.
And count the basket inside.
I remember my high school coach said one man can't beat 5. Well, I'm telling you right now, he lied. I'm watching it happen in person.
Short jumper won't go down. Here's Schroeder with it. His guys trail by 10. George matched up with P.J. Tucker. Easy path to the rim. Jay, when you break down Paul George, where is he at his best?
He needs to be engaged. He needs to have the ball in his hands. He needs to be needed. And that's the biggest thing for Paul George. When he's the guy offensively and he makes those clutch shots, it re-engages him defensively. And that drives him to be the best version of Paul George there is.
Who left in Houston? Luka Mute to the Clippers, Trevor Ariza to Phoenix. So, Jay, how do the Rockets adapt without 2 key wing defenders this year?
Well, other guys need to step up. I think you need to see P.J. Tucker step up. Gerald Green, we all know how explosive he is offensively, but he needs to make that applicable to the defensive end. Michael Carter-Williams is another big acquisition. He's a bigger guard who can use his length to deter shots. And also another kid, Markel Brown. He played at Oklahoma State, extremely athletic, explosive on the perimeter. If these guys can do it by committee, that might be enough to eclipse the Golden State Warriors.
Some lineup changes now for both clubs. Paul against the former MVP. Oh, good defense there. Thunder with the steal.
You go back to the principles, things that we started working on when we were in first and second grade. It's called the shell drill. You stay down in the stance defensively, you try to deny the next pass away, and you have to communicate. If your conditioning is bad, you have no chance. But if you're able to do all these things together, collectively, you will be able to stop a great passing team.
Thunder with the basketball. Russell Westbrook against Chris Paul. Beyond the arc for 3. He's not shy about shooting it from out there, but he misses this time. Westbrook with the basketball. The deficit is 6. It's good. And 1.
Oh, he should get some kind of acting award. That's a great sell by the offensive player. But guess what? The refs bit, and that's the game.
Russell Westbrook at the line for a chance at a 3-point play. Hasn't missed yet. Free throw is good to cap off the 3-point play. And the lead is down to 3. It's Rockets ball. Chance for Chris Paul. Gets a shot up off the mark. On the follow. Way to stay with it.
Bodies bouncing all around on that layup with the offense winning that battle. But if the defense keeps up that kind of pressure, good things are bound to happen.
Full throttle right to the basket for the deuce. That ends the third quarter with the Rockets in front. The Thunder have it to start the fourth quarter. We've got a one-possession game going on. This has the look of a race that's going down to the wire.
And it looked that way from the very beginning, but this is where the coaches and the best players on the floor really earn their money down the stretch. It's game time.
To Anthony. Yes, Carmelo Anthony. Consistent effort. He's at 50%. Knowing Carmelo Anthony, the competitor, you know he wants to do the same things as he was doing 5 years ago. Can he?
Well, the answer easy is no. Your mind is telling you yes, but your body is saying the exact opposite. The next step for Carmelo Anthony is to understand that he needs to keep it simple. If he's a catch-and-shoot player, help provide spacing and open up that lane for other players to attack.
George, knocked loose. Couldn't keep it in. Out off Paul George. Harden against Westbrook. To P.J. Tucker. Fires the three. Not that time. Paul George to Schroeder. Perfect feed to set up the basket.
There's no better feeling after a game after you had 25-plus assists and you won the game and everybody recognizes that it's time for their bank accounts to get rewarded.
Yes, and the foul. And a chance at three coming up.
The offense has very little to lose on those type of plays if they know they can, number one, create contact, and number two, still get the ball up. You need to assert yourself fully on the defensive end by initiating the contact and not allowing the offensive player to get that ball above his waist.
James Harden trying to cash in on a three-point play. He's perfect from the line so far. One free throw, count it. It's a three-point play, and the lead up to 8. It's Russ at the controls. To Adams. Sizing up the defense. To Adams. Big man, Steven Adams. Not a busy night, but effective. 2 for 2.
And ISO basketball is becoming a thing of the past. Team basketball is back. And if you have that personnel with the versatility plus the mindset, game over.
Ferguson to Westbrook. From the painted area, won't go down. Paul with it up top. Up by 6. To Harden. Tough make through traffic.
This is why I go back into player mode. If the dude starts to try to have 40 points on me, I'm going to foul out. I'm going to start hitting him in places he's not used to being hit. I'm trying to do anything to throw him off his game.
And count the basket.
When the ball's in his hands, we all knew what was going to happen.
To Capella. Around the perimeter. Paul. Clint Capella. He's 3 of 5. 60% shooting from the field.
Well, we got a chance to firsthand watch something be created. I think we just watched an epidemic of passing. I've never seen something like this before. It was so contagious, everybody started to do it, and it ultimately led to the other team's demise.
If that's an epidemic, sign me up. Count the basket. The Thunder will use a timeout. That's their first of the final 3 minutes. That leaves them with 1 remaining.
And this is where habits come into play. Players think they can turn that switch on and off at their beckoning call, but it doesn't work that way. That's why coaches talk about practicing good habits on a daily basis, because they show up in the fourth.
Coach has seen enough. He wants some changes. New personnel onto the floor. Knocked loose. Russell Westbrook, guarded by CP3. Shot no good by Tucker. George against Harden. Knocked loose. George to Westbrook. And he's fouled. He's going to the line for 2.
I don't know about that one, Ed. I always thought your hand was part of the ball.
Russell Westbrook at the line for 2 shots. Hasn't missed yet. Knocks down the first. Two for 2 on that trip. Harden matched up with Ferguson. From long range, that's good D. Shot no good. To George. Has a chance. Step back jumper. At his size on the wing, that's a tough matchup on both ends of the floor.
Yeah, let me tell you about why he's so great defensively. He gets up into you and forces you one way. Does not give you an option to dance with the basketball. That wingspan, that frame, that size, that strength, and that lateral quickness. Oh, there's no getting by Mr. George.
Harden. They get it down to Paul. And it's George with the block shot.
Just erasing mistakes left and right.
Russ at the controls. To the rim. Lays it up and in.
And did you see the lift on the shot? Did you see the ball release off the hand? To be able to have the concentration to finish with such a feathery touch in the midst of contact, that's something special to watch.
Paul George. Getting dirty. Loose ball on the deck. Referee blows the whistle. Jump ball coming. Time to shuffle things up. After the tie-up, they're in position for the jump ball. Anthony, guarded by Patterson. For 3, textbook Melo. Hands in his face, lets it fly, and scores. Now a whistle, and we're going to get a timeout from OKC. They're down big in this 4th quarter, and a chance here to empty their bench. Looks like some substitutions are coming on in. George. Russell Westbrook matched up with Paul. To Paul George. Lets it fly from beyond the arc. And Paul George good on the quick release there.
I know he's a volume shooter. I know defensively at times you have to take your lumps. Might be time to adjust the scouting report, though. Start denying him the ball.
Paul, now here's an intentional foul. So free throws coming up in what is an 8-point ball game.
Okay, now look over to the sideline and see what the staff is trying to draw up on the next play. That's good clock management thus far.
First free throw is good. Goes 2 for 2. George sizing up Eric Gordon. Can't connect from in close.
That's how you do it. You keep riding him to the basket, and if the refs aren't calling it, keep being physical. Keep knocking him off balance.
Houston with the basketball. That misses with a second to go. It's the Rockets who are victorious as they win this one handily. For Jay Williams and all our crew, I'm Ed Cohen saying so long for now. This has been a presentation of the NBA on EA Sports.
Hey everyone, it's Jalen Rose, and it's time for the EA Sports post-game wrap-up. The Rockets took this down to the wire before getting the win. They did it with blocks, and they did it with steals. More to the point, they did it with excellent defense. They committed to the grind and got rewarded as a result. What you see here is how the majority of the points were scored for the Houston Rockets. The Thunder lost a tight one today, and you can see the disappointment. Chemistry was clearly not the issue today because they were definitely sharing the ball well. Still, everyone knows they'd rather be sharing the joy of a victory.
Game track. Field goals.
This was a matchup in which solid shooting was prominently on display. I definitely enjoyed it. Like I'm loving enjoying all of these highlights right now. Great job of effective, efficient scoring from these squads.
Player of the game.
Chris Paul read the defense perfectly, and his teammates reaped the benefits with easy baskets. Here we go with the top 3 plays.
Player of the game.
On behalf of ESPN on EA Sports, I'm Jalen Rose. We look forward to seeing you again next time.
The Houston Rockets control the opening tip. Paul to Harden. 4-3. That's how you defend. George against Chris Paul. And the rebound taken down by Houston. To Paul. Gets it in the right corner. Harden. James Harden missed his first. That one goes.
Ooh, that confidence level is so superior. Whenever you start jacking back on defense before the ball even goes through the net, that speaks for itself.
To Westbrook. George. His first effort off the mark. To Paul. Shot won't go.
You see, Ed, this is what the refs need to start calling. The defender hit the shooter right around the waist, which made him lunge into his shot and took away all of his concentration for it.
Chance for Paul. Add 2 points to the board. Jay, he's played for a number of teams in the Western Conference, no less. What do you make of Paul and his willingness to embrace a challenge?
Well, for the first 12 years of his career, he was ball dominant. The ball was forced to be in his hands every possession because nobody else, other than CP3, could make a play. Now there's a shared responsibility with the playmaking skills, and that only allows him to play looser, to play freer, to play more like he played in college, hunting his own shot and thinking pass second, score first.
Westbrook into the front court. They trail by 7. Not done yet. Oh, Russell Westbrook. First couple didn't go. That one is true. The inner beast of Westbrook. Sheer determination.
I don't think anybody got the license plate on that hit and run. And there is no one, I repeat, no one in the game of basketball with the first step in the explosion of Russell Westbrook.
Westbrook to George. Here comes the screen. Paul George, 4-2, and the finish. Jay, that was unguardable.
Did you see the way that dribble freed him up? It created so much space. I did, but the defender did.
Here's Paul, controlling the offense. Surveys the floor. Paul to Anthony. Paul.
That reach was just about a second off. He got his hand in there a little bit quicker. That would have been a steal.
Just enough imbalance. first one goes down. Knocks down the second free throw.
Substitutions.
Knocks down all three at the line. Westbrook across the timeline. His team down 9.
2 minutes remaining in the first quarter.
Shot from the lane won't go.
Ed, the game is so different. In today's NBA, defenders are longer, quicker, and more athletic than we've ever seen before. So offensively, as a shooter, you either have to be able to create more space off the dribble for your shot or have a much faster release. Ideally, you have both in your arsenal.
George against Chris Paul. Strong finish for Paul George.
We call that get your money and put it in the bank.
Fires the three. Can't connect. Westbrook into the front court. Right now, down 7. And too much contact.
That's just a blatant foul. Maybe he's trying to make a statement.
Time to adjust. Both coaches making changes on the floor.
2 minutes. Entering the game for the Oklahoma City Thunder, number 17, Dennis Schroeder.
Able to convert inside.
There you go, finally. Shoot your shot.
Gordon against the elite defender Robertson. And he hits.
That's a good run right here to end the first quarter to open up that lead. If you're the coach of this team, you have to like the effort your guys are giving.
Paul here again Schroeder. The jumper's off the mark. Screen coming, grabs his own miss and scores. Good concentration.
That's what I'm talking about, Ed. It's that simple. Put the ball in the bucket.
Layup's good. Those are the types of shots you always strive for.
That's a strong finish. Regardless of contact, finishing strong is key.
Thunder with the basketball. Schroeder matched up with Paul. Oh, Dennis Schroeder. 2 for 3 now here in the first.
Ooh, cool, calm, and collective. The 3 C's. His handles are effortless.
Carter Williams to Paul. Here's a chance from long range. Jay, another one goes down. They're right where they want to be.
Exactly. Next play, you have to turn around defensively and get in the stance and actually keep that same kind of tempo.
Schroeder. Doesn't have the touch. No good.
Woo! I like that intensity on that play. That's how you actually dig in the dirt and do your job on the defensive end.
He made his first effort, but not that time. From the painted area, won't go down. First quarter in the books. The Rockets with the lead. Ed Cohen, Jay Williams with you as we get things started here in the second quarter. The Thunder have the possession. Schroeder. Carmelo Anthony traded, but Jay, Sam Presti turns that into Dennis Schroeder, now on a team built to win.
And I love this acquisition by the Thunder. When you think about Schroeder, he is actually almost the opposite of what Russell Westbrook is. He averaged 19 points, 6.5 assists last year for the Hawks, but he is not a ball-dominant guard. He will have the ball in his hands, but he's more apt to make plays quickly with the ball than Russell, who likes to hold on to the ball towards the end of the shot clock.
He's going to the free throw line to shoot.
Great job, Ed, by the shooter to create contact after the jump. That's how you get to the free throw line.
Dennis Schroeder has got 2 shots coming. For his career, 82%. first one, count it. And he makes them both. Gordon, guarded by Jeremy Grant. Paul. Shot from in close, no good.
It's easy. Force guys into low percentage shots. That's the reason why we're big into stats. It was all provided to you before the game in the scouting report.
Finishing inside the paint on that one.
Well, they have such great flow to their offense this evening. The ball isn't sticking to one player individually. It's moving around the perimeter, and it's zipping. They're playing with a special cohesiveness.
Knocked loose. Schroeder against Chris Paul. To P.J. Tucker, going to launch beyond the arc. Tucker, dead on three-point shooter. Tough to guard.
Ed, let me tell you how this one goes. It ain't no fun if the homies can't have some. Everyone's getting a piece of the rock tonight.
And the reward, a couple of shots at the line.
Smart play to rip through the extended arm of the defender. That will get you to the free throw line every time.
Dennis Schroeder, a couple of free throws on the way. He's perfect from the line so far. And he connects on the first free throw. Good free throw shooting. Knocks down a pair. To P.J. Tucker. Count the basket. 2 more points in the paint.
As my mother would say to the defender, A for effort, F for results.
Across midcourt, it's Schroeder. 9-point margin. To P.J. Tucker. Short jumper won't go down.
Misses happen. Don't put your head down. Let that motivate you in the defensive end. Use it for something positive.
Oh, Dennis Schroeder. Terrific shooting. He's 4 for 5.
Let me tell you something that nobody will ever talk about. Did you see him slow down right before he was about to go up? That slow change of speed, that slight change was just enough to throw the defender off.
Deep to end a putback slam.
If you know anything, it comes down to who wants it more. And right now, the offense is just hungrier.
Paul. Yes, and a foul. He'll have a chance at a three-point play.
The offense has very little to lose on those type of plays if they know they can, number one, create contact, and number two, still get the ball up. You need to assert yourself fully on the defensive end by initiating the contact and not allowing the offensive player to get that ball above his waist.
Chris Paul at the line for a chance at a three-point play. Hasn't missed yet. One free throw, count it. It's a three-point play, and the lead up to 8. OKC ball. Schroeder to Paul George. Driving right to the basket. Short jumper misses. Knight into the front court. His team on top by 8. And he knocks it down.
Look, I'm not the one to hate. I'm the prime example of a bad decision that turned out well.
Schroeder with the basketball. Looking to make something happen to George. Lets it fly from long range. Can't connect. It's no good. There will be no shortage of shots for Carmelo Anthony in Mike D'Antoni's offense, Jay. Why is it a good fit for Melo in Houston?
Well, a couple of things. Number one, if there's one guy you need to trust, his name is Daryl Morey. And the Houston Rockets organization is a stat-driven culture. So he understands at this juncture where Carmelo Anthony is in his relationship to his career. Playing with 2 pass-first type PGs in James Harden and CP3, who averaged a combined 12.5, 13 assists last year, will open up the floor extensively for Carmelo to knock down those jump shots.
Changes coming from both sides right now. Runner here won't go down. To Paul. Beyond the arc for three. Now that's a contest. Oklahoma City's got it. Russell Westbrook matched up with Capella. Takes stock of the floor. It's Westbrook. Oh, Russell Westbrook. Tough shooting. Only 2 for 6 after that make. Jay, if you're Russell Westbrook, how do you take on the responsibility of getting them over the hump?
You have to own it, man. And that starts with owning the fact that, yes, you were the first player in the history of the game to average a triple-double back-to-back years, but that did not equate to your team being successful. Sometimes less is more. And he has to make sure that he's surrounded and allowing the players he's surrounded with to help him get to the next level.
Westbrook with it. His guys down big. Short jumper stays out.
That's how you do it. You keep riding him to the basket, and if the refs aren't calling it, keep being physical. Keep knocking him off balance.
Paul George. Oh, nice find for the basket.
And sometimes less is more. Keeping it simple is the best way.
Harden. James Harden. 2 of 4 now.
You see, you can't actually get mesmerized by the ball. You actually have to focus on the dribbler's belly button. I know that may sound cheesy, but trust me, he can't go anywhere without his core.
And Paul George, not sure why they left him that wide open. Takes advantage.
But it was how he created the shot. As a defender, there's a tendency to stand up when you stare at the ball. Offensive player recognized that, continuously moved without the ball. Bang, that's how he set it up.
That's his first personal foul.
P.J. Tucker is going to get a chance at 3 here. A career 74% free throw shooter. And hits the first free throw. He delivers with 2 free throws. And he hits all 3 free throws. Late heave to beat the buzzer. A very one-sided first half of basketball as we are at halftime. Let's get you to our NBA Live studios in Orlando and hand it over to Jalen Rose for our EA Sports Halftime Report. Jalen.
It's time for the Rose Report at halftime, and it's brought to you by EA Sports. The Rockets have built a comfortable lead. It was their playmaking, the way they gave each other scoring opportunities. That really impresses me. I love seeing unselfish basketball like that. Have a look at the leading scorers for the Houston Rockets. The Thunder have got themselves in a bad situation that seems likely to only get worse. The way they struggle doesn't bode well for them at all. But if they've got some fight in them, we'll know right away in the third quarter. These are the guys getting buckets for the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Game track. Assists.
The Oklahoma City Thunder are struggling to move the ball and create good looks for each other. What makes it worse is their opponent isn't having nearly the same problem.
Player of the half.
Tucker has the defense figured out, and his shots are falling for him. That's a lethal combination that will be hard to overcome.
Who was cold?
What can you say about a guy like this? Except that he fits the title of this segment. He was definitely cold in that first half. Here are the top plays from the opening half.
Number 2. Number 1.
And that concludes our halftime report. Thanks for joining us, and see you again after the game.
Jay, without question, one of the biggest moments of the NBA offseason, Paul George, he chooses the Thunder, he stays in OKC.
And how about what Paul George said? He said, it's a perfect opportunity to submit myself and bring a championship where it has never been brought. And I think him and Russ work well off each other. Playoff P wants to be Playoff P all the time. Who better to bring that out of you than the Beast Boy?
Russ at the controls. To Adams. Westbrook. Wide open look, won't go.
I don't know why he rushed that shot. He was wide open. Take your time.
Anthony, defended by Jeremy Grant. To P.J. Tucker, fires the three. Rare miss the way he's been shooting. Shot's no good.
His scoring is definitely cooled off, but you have to give the defense some credit. They're denying him the ball and really making him work once he catches it.
To P.J. Tucker from long range. Always has a chance for Tucker, but not that time. Westbrook with the basketball. Down by 15. To Paul George. Adams. The shot blocked by Anthony.
That's why a rim protector is a necessity in this game.
Couldn't keep it in. Off James Harden. Here's Westbrook controlling the offense. No good. Defense catching a break there. To Paul. For three. Textbook defense.
Just because you're an elite shooter doesn't mean you need to shoot the ball every possession. Maybe give a head fake, crack into the defender, get to the free throw line, see the ball go in the hole.
Paul smothering D.
In the first half, he pretty much made every single shot. It was magical to watch. But now that you have drawn so much attention, try to get your teammates more involved.
To George. Westbrook. Terrence Ferguson at the line for two shots. For his career, 90% at the line. Knocks down the first.
Stepping in for Oklahoma City, number 17,
Able to convert on both free throws. To Paul. Lets it fly from beyond the arc. Great defense, forcing the miss.
Great contest by the D, but I want to see the coaching staff call the same exact play the next possession. Get that offensive player the ball. Let him prove that it wasn't the D. It was more in his own head.
Ferguson. Knocked loose. Rockets have it. Harden picked up by Ferguson. 4-3. No good. That's great defense.
Shooters shoot. Period. I don't want to hear any excuses. That's why you're on the floor. You keep doing what you're doing with that superior confidence.
To Capella. It was right there. Here's Schroeder with it. His guy's down 11. Straight down the middle of the lane. Way to punch it home.
And there's nothing more mentally intimidating for your opponent than when your own teammates are unselfish and make sure that you get the ball because they want you to drop 70 on them, maybe like Devin Booker did last year.
And that'll get out of bounds. Last touch by the Thunder. Both coaches hitting the reset button. Fresh legs coming onto the floor.
Entering the game for Oklahoma City, number 3, Nerlens Noel.
Cashes in for 2.
Contact on a drive can be a beautiful thing. Making those tough shots can really help you build a mental advantage over your defender.
George gets it in the left corner to Paul George. Fires the 3, and Paul George good on the quick release there.
Not everybody possesses this power, but wow, what court awareness.
Has a look. That's no good. 48 wins a year ago for the Thunder. Jay, it took them a while to get to that point, but in so many ways, the Thunder had a great opportunity in the playoffs.
They did. It just seemed like something with their chemistry was a tad bit off of Carmelo Anthony. I think him not being there, him not being in Houston, them getting Andre Robertson back. He's a big-time lockdown defender on the perimeter. You surround him with youth and Hamidou Diallo, Terrence Ferguson, Alex Abrines. This team has a chance to compete for a Western Conference Finals.
It was contested, but Paul George still dials in for 3.
Man, you making people dance out there? I see you with the footwork.
Carter Williams with it up top. Lead stands at 7. Count the bucket for 2.
Well, the shooting has been spectacular, but one of the things that I've seen as the difference maker in this ball game is how they are catching the basketball. They're not establishing a pivot foot, which leaves the defense wondering which way you can drive, but when that shot is working like that, you got it any way you want it.
Carter Williams trying to cash in. Can't connect. Defense did its job that time. Ferguson guarded by Michael Carter Williams. From the painted area, won't go down. Yes, Carmelo Anthony. Very efficient and making an impact. He's 3 for 3.
I love the drive to the basket there. Instead of trying to go around or over, go through.
George. And the rebound taken in by the Rockets. Just inside the arc. At the buzzer. Schroeder with the board. 3 quarters down with the Rockets in front. It'll be Rockets basketball here as we start the 4th quarter. They have clearly been the better side so far. Jay, that's reflected on the scoreboard.
Well, the cardinal rule in the game of sport is whenever you go into the 4th quarter, it's 0-0. You have to play the game with the scoreboard saying 0-0. And if you can win that game by double digits, then you've done your job in the 4th.
Clint Capella has got 2 shots coming. A career 48% free throw shooter. First free throw is good. Goes 2 for 2 at the line. Oklahoma City ball. Paul George. With the fadeaway. Burns him for the basket.
Old school equals high percentage.
To P.J. Tucker. Deep 2 there. Won't go.
We call some of these players practice players. You know, the guys that make 5 out of 10 shots in practice, but then all of a sudden they're not gamers because then they're making 1 of 10. That's exactly what you want him to do. You want him to take those kind of shots.
Cleans it up. Offensive board. Nice touch around the basket with the tip.
That's a strong finish. Regardless of contact, finishing strong is key.
Anthony, that's off the side of the rim, short. Send it away.
Did you see how far he got up? He kept going up and up and up. I think he's still going up.
To P.J. Tucker. Tough-looking shot there. Still gets it to go down.
You know, Ed, the effort is what concerns me the most. Effort is replenishable. If you're tired, Raise your hand, check yourself out. Get somebody who actually wants to get back in transition and play some defense. That will help your team win the game, not you just staying in the game to be better on offense.
To Harden. Here's a chance from long range. Tough shot. Well defended.
Give the defense some credit here. He killed them in the first half, driving and scoring at will. But now, it's lockdown time.
And watch him do the rest. Slam dunk.
I mean, defense, is it that easy? Can I see some reaction after somebody gets an easy dunk? Some yelling, some kind of emotion? I need you to get involved back in this ballgame.
The Thunder will use a timeout as they'll talk things over here in this fourth quarter.
Well, you need execution in a chess match. And the best execution, I just saw the star player talk to one of the young fellas. You take those young fellas over to the side. You coach them through some of these big-time moments that happen in the fourth quarter. That's how you get your team ready for the playoffs and hopefully a chance to win a championship.
Both coaches dipping into their reserves. Changes coming onto the floor. Schroeder guarded by CP3. Free throws coming up.
Smart play to rip through the extended arm of the defender. That will get you to the free throw line every time.
First one goes down.
Good shot, Will.
And gets both to drop at the line. Paul gets it down to Capella. Shot from the lane won't go. Across midcourt, it's Schroeder. The margin standing now at 7. To Harden. Going to launch beyond the arc. And James Harden, well defended, still gets it to go down.
And it just seems like the defense has lethargic closeouts. You need to close out with more of a sense of urgency. Run them off the three-point line. Make them take a tough 2 rather than an easy 3.
Westbrook to George. Unbothered by the defense as he drills it.
Here's a tip for your defense. You can't give him that much space. You have to push up into his personal space and make him play the majority of the possessions with his back to the basket. Because if you allow him to open up, there's no stopping.
George against Tucker. Knocked loose. Rockets have the steal. Capella to Harden. Has a chance. James Harden. Now 4 for 9. The challenge defending a guy who can be a 1 or a 2.
We're not old men talking about this game. We don't define players by positions anymore. Is he a 1 or is he a 2? No, he's James Harden. He is a scorer and an elite passer.
Can't go down. Smothering defense. Schroeder with the basketball. His guys trail by 10. Nothing going here on that drive. No good.
Next.
Capella to P.J. Tucker. Paul. Message received. Well defended.
Notice that the defense isn't giving him as much space anymore. They're crowding him every time he catches the ball and really getting into his legs defensively.
To Paul. Lets it fly from long range. He's not shy about shooting it from out there, but he misses this time. Here's Schroeder with it. Trailing by 10. Russell Westbrook. Harden's on him. George to Westbrook. Shot's no good. You have to like the confidence, but that was a difficult shot.
That's how you do it. You keep riding him to the basket, and if the refs aren't calling it, keep being physical. Keep knocking him off balance.
Now a whistle, and we're going to get a timeout from OKC. They're down big in this fourth quarter, and a chance here to empty their bench. shifting gears. Here comes some substitutions. Paul George. Yes, and the foul, and a chance at 3 coming up.
And I know there's so much excitement about the play, but everybody looks at the player. More people need to pay attention to the guy at the end of the bench, the strength and conditioning coach, because this kid's been putting in the time and effort every day in the weight room.
Dennis Schroeder trying to cash in on a three-point play. He's perfect from the line so far. Free throw good. A three-point play, and they're back within single digits, down by 9. To P.J. Tucker. Has a look. Tucker with a shot that misses.
It's easy. Force guys into low percentage shots. That's the reason why we're big into stats. It was all provided to you before the game in the scouting report.
The Thunder will use a timeout. That's their second of the final 3 minutes. No more timeouts left the rest of the game. Opposing coach is going to counter, make some changes of his own. George. Schroeder matched up with Harden. To Paul George. Beyond the arc for 3. That's off the side of the rim, no good. Here's the whistle. Intentional foul.
Smart play. You have fouls to use. Good way to manage the clock without burning the timeout.
And there's the foul. Gonna play this one out even though it seems all but over in a 9-point game.
Good foul right there. You want to stop the clock.
First one, count it. Two for 2 on that trip. Across midcourt, it's Schroeder. Down 11. And Paul George, not sure why they left him that wide open. Takes advantage.
I know he's a volume shooter. I know defensively at times you have to take your lumps. Might be time to adjust the scouting report, though. Start denying him the ball.
Knocked loose. Ferguson picked up by Paul. Yes, Carmelo Anthony. He's now 4 for 6. Deep 3 at the buzzer. It's the Rockets who are victorious as they win this one handily. That does it. For my partner Jay Williams and our entire crew, I'm Ed Cohen. This has been a presentation of the NBA on EA Sports. For more, log on to easports.com. As we say, so long, everyone.
Post-game wrap-up. The Rockets emerged victorious after a tight finish. What really stands out for me is how many three-pointers were scored. Everyone in the arena should have been given a free umbrella for the way they made it rain from long range. Here are the guys who put up the most points for the Houston Rockets. The Thunder must be devastated after such a close loss. The way they shot the ball was outstanding, but even still, it wasn't enough to get the result they wanted. More often than not, you're going to win games when you shoot the ball as well as they did here today.
Game track. Field goals.
Neither of these teams were able to make much of an impact on defense. As you can see here, they were each pretty successful with some efficient scoring.
player of the game.
Tucker put up the kind of points that made him an easy choice for this award. He couldn't be stopped. And when he realized he was in the zone, he just took it to another level.
Who was cold?
Every player that makes it to the NBA is a great athlete. But even the best players have their off nights. Today was just one of those days for this guy. These are the top plays of the game.
Number 2. Number 1.
On behalf of Ed Cohen and Jay Williams, this is Jalen Rose signing off.